Thank you, Dan. Welcome, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It's Wednesday, August 14th, 2019, 54 degrees outside. What day is it, Shane? What day is it?
Oh, it's Hump Day.
Yeah.
Mike Day.
Mike will be in at 7 o'clock. Mike McCormick will join us at 7 a.m. So we'll have to give Mike a hard time about it being Wednesday. At least it's not Tuesday.
Yeah, we have to let people know we looked long and hard to find someone named Mike to have in on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was a tough challenge to. Yeah, Mark didn't work.
Sam,
Sam.
Ed. Delaney, no, none of these could work.
None of those worked. Yeah, we finally got Mike. So Mike, what day is it? All right. We'll be talking with him at 7 a.m. this morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. If you'd like to be a part of the big broadcast, there's easy ways to do it. 522-TALK is probably the easiest way. Pick up the phone, give us a call. Anything that's on your mind here. And you can also use our app chat at AM 1450 KMMS on your smartphone. It's right next to the listen button. It says app chat. You just punch that in, and you get a thing directly to us. You can use our text line, 478-8298, or Tom at KMMSAM.com.
That's right. You could text, you could fax, you could tax. I mean, like you could do everything.
That's right, man. Let me tell you, we're the easiest two guys in Southwest Montana to find.
To find, exactly.
That's right. You can find us anywhere. So, well, let's talk a little bit about my favorite topic, of course, the weather, and it looks pretty good, Shane, for the week ahead.
Oh, yeah. You've had 2 weeks of pretty good calls here, buddy.
Yeah. Well, it's been cool, but we're getting back into normal temperatures, I think, for this time of year. Today, it's going to be mostly sunny with a high near 80, and tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 52, so no real rain or anything in the forecast for today. On Thursday, 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms after 1 o'clock. Mostly sunny with a high near 78. And Thursday night, though, we're going to have about a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly between 7 p.m. and 1 a.m. And so keep an eye out for that. On Friday, weekend looks pretty good, mostly sunny, high near 76. And Friday night, mostly cloudy, a low around 49. That's a little cool for us. But Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 79. So that should be pretty nice for the weekend. Get out on Saturday, do some things. Saturday night, mostly sunny with a high near 70. Saturday night, partly cloudy with a low around 52, I should say. And then on Sunday, it is sunny with a high near 85. And Sunday night, mostly clear. 54 will be the low, and then Monday, sunny with a high near 86. So pretty nice, week going on for us. So we're happy to have that. Let's see. App chat, does that entail an email address? You sign up for the app chat. Yes, you'll sign up, but we're not going to send you anything. We don't have the money. We're poor here.
Right. We don't
have the money. We don't have the money to do any kind of an email protest or.
We don't even have T-shirts.
We don't even have the wherewithal to keep track of you.
Yeah,
so I tell you, if you've seen this studio, you know how desperate we are for listeners and everything else that goes on here. XL Country over there, they got gold microphones. Over here, we got plastic.
That's right. It's an outback, rural, conservative, radio, redneck, Christian.
That's it.
Network. There you go.
That's where we are. Yep, that's it.
They get all the proper adjectives in there, I think.
Yeah. So it's you can put any email in there you want. Set up a phone email if you want to. We don't care. Just sign up for the.
Don't send us your picture, okay?
That's right. Yeah. Well, the app chat is just easy to use. If you already have your smartphone, it's right next to the listen button. If you're listening on your phone anyway, bam, hit the app chat, and it's easy to use. We're just trying to make it easier for you. You can still use the text line at 478-8298, but then you got to go over to the phone part, and then you got to put the number in, and then you got to type the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the app chat's just
Well,
a little bit
I
easier.
think
So
with kids, the new generation,
yeah,
it's more popular than Twitter app chat.
that's right. Even the Canuck has it, right? Yeah,
Yeah, of course. I'm, 21st century. You should see
yeah.
my jet-rigged dog
Hmm.
sled.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
need dogs anymore. I have a jet on it now.
Yeah, XL Country gets about 500 app chats a
A
morning,
day.
I think, over there. I don't know. I'm looking at their computer screen. The thing is full of these. They got requests to play a song, or
Oh, of course, yeah.
they want to know what's going on with where they're going to be and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah. So the app chat, we came up with that just to make things a little easier for you, so that you can just go directly from your smartphone. You won't miss the show, and you'll be typing in your whatever thought you have, and we'll entertain that thought. So all views are welcome here. So there you are. Well, let's see. On this day in history, oh my gosh, Shane, 1848. That's pretty close to when Montana became a state too.
That's right.
Oregon Territory was established.
Yeah, it's amazing. The Oregon, that part of the coast, the northwest coast, was first explored in 1777. So this is a year after your Declaration of Independence. And the first were Spanish, then both American and British. The territory originally was really large. It, encompassed Oregon, Washington, Idaho,
Mm-hmm.
and the western parts of Wyoming and Montana. And then the British and Americans signed an agreement, and we got British Columbia to the north, and ultimately you had the 4 states to the south. But quite a story. I mean, it's grown significantly. Became a state on February 14th, 1859. Mm-hmm. 4.1 million people, 4.2 million people live in Oregon, and the median household income for the state is $60,000. And it's a resource-based economy. Although the high tech has filled in a lot in the last 30 years on the coast between, Oregon and Washington. So there you go. Great addition to the union.
Mm-hmm. Definitely is. So, let's see. In 1900, international forces entered Beijing to put down the Boxer Rebellion, which was aimed at purging China of foreigners. Get those foreigners out of there. You're going to corrupt our culture.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it basically was a revolution. Mm-hmm. Things have been changing drastically because of China opening to the West and internally. So this revolution started on the 2nd November 1899 to the 7th of September 1901, and the Empress Dowager Cixi on June 21st, 1900, declared war against the major major countries that were there. There were 6 of them, and it's an amazing story, mostly because when it was over, and the litigations that were attacked were freed in Peking on August 14th, 1901. The Chinese ended up having to pay a 415 million taels of silver, and which it was approximately $10 billion in today's dollars. So can anyone say the English British pound is sterling? That's where they got it from, all the silver the British got for the Chinese. Oh, and of course Hong Kong, and then Portugal got Macau. But the United States, no, they just left.
We just got out. That's it. 1917, China declared war on Germany and Austria during World War I.
That's right. It was, World War I broke out, of course, in 1914 when Japan invaded China right off the bat. So people forget that, the war in the East at the end of World War I, 1918, didn't end there. The Japanese continued trying to occupy and conquer China and Mongolia. And so anyway, after World War I ended, China sort of became a democracy for a while under a president and premier, and then there was another revolution, and yeah, it's China's got a really weird and amazing history.
They really do. I mean, they've been around for a long time, of course.
Oh yeah,
Well over
3,000
5,000
years at
years
least.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
3
How
to
many
5,000.
years? Whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't care. But
I know.
I just
Sure.
know they're still using chopsticks and they haven't seen the fork. So they can't be very smart, I guess, if they're still using chopsticks when obviously they've seen the fork, they've seen the spoon, they've seen the knife. There's no reason on God's green earth to have a chopstick anywhere in your life. So,
Okay, now just wait a second. So, Mike, we got to talk with this to Mike because this situation in Hong Kong is huge.
yes, it
You and
is.
I have been warning about this.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those, things you can't control, and the Chinese want to get control of Hong Kong because all the U.S. money banks and everything run through there. And that's part of what your
Yep.
president wants to distinguish, that China has to stay out of Hong Kong, and in fact, let those banks into China.
Yep.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it's a major financial center in the Far East, and it may move this to Singapore if this doesn't go
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That'd be
this
the
is one
other
of those
option.
things-
Yeah.
That's it. This is one of those things you can't control, so you got to worry about it.
All right, we got to take care of our ranchers, farmers, truck drivers, cab drivers, anybody that brings you food, booze, or clothing, or anything like that. So we got to have all that stuff, So, all right, Montana News and Ag coming up right now. All right, it is 23 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It's Wednesday, August 14th, 2019, 54 degrees outside, looking for a high in the mid 70s. Near 80 today, clear skies and no rain, so should be a pretty nice midweek hump day.
That's right.
enjoy the nice weather because we're almost into September, and oh my God, and it starts getting nasty after that.
Indeed. Yeah.
Let's see, from our text line, Shane, you're not half man, half amazing. You're weird and amazing. You are. So
I'll go with that.
I'll have to agree on that one. Yeah, there's help needed there.
Yeah, weird is better than racist. I'll take that.
That's true. Yeah, weird's better than racist. So okay, we'll accept that. Let's see. Continuing on with this day in history, in 1941, Franklin Roosevelt and British Prime Minister Winston Churchill issued the Atlantic Charter, a statement of principles that renounced aggression.
Yeah, that's amazing. This, it was the 14th of August, 1941. So this is 6 months before the U.S. got into the war, and this was none other than Placertine Bay in Newfoundland, Canada. Yoo-hoo! Anyway, the U.S. had gotten this base from lease from the UK, and was part of the the deal that Roosevelt came up with Winston Churchill, where he could lend lease. And so the U.S. gave 50 surplus destroyers. These were surplus destroyers to England for this port. The importance of it really is that in signing it, it created others to sign along with it, and it set up a territorial agreement. But it was a preeminent document to create the declaration by the United Nations on the 1st of January 1942, which was the basis for the modern United Nations. Also, something we haven't talked about, and your president's going to start talking about soon, so you're going to be hearing about this a lot. GATT, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. So that's when trade and tariffs were adapted and changed, was with that, and then the World Trade Organization and other, major global, the international banking system, monetary system, it all started after this one document, the Atlantic Charter. There you go. Huge piece of history. Huge.
Yeah. And so a forerunner to the Geneva Convention, too, with the aggression part of it in there.
That's right.
That's right. We've got that going for us.
Huge document.
From our text line, 478-8298, what race are we? I think we're the Daytona 500, actually. That's pretty much.
I like that.
I like that one,
Yeah, they are the sharpest looking cars.
Everybody likes the Indianapolis, but I like the Daytona 500s. Yeah, that's my race. So, Let's see, 1945, President Harry S. Truman announced that Japan had surrendered unconditionally, ending World War II.
Yes, and that was after, as we both know, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Mm-hmm. And he bluffed the Japanese, thank goodness, because the cost of invading it would have been horrific. So, yeah, and the Chinese, of course, were happy with it. They continued. They continued on for I guess it was another 4 years with their civil war with Kuomintang and Chiang Kai-shek against Mao and his revolutionaries.
Yeah. Okay. Also from our text line, 4788298, let's stop this half-man rant. Well, that's a trademark, man, just like Morning Mayor is a trademark. We can't get rid of a trademark. That's like...
Or Eagle Man.
Yeah, that's like Hallmark getting rid of, if you care enough to send the very best. We can't do that. So Shane and I, when you care enough to hear the very best, that's what we're doing here. So
we're like the Golden Arches, two golden rainbows.
That's it, man. We are the Golden Arches of radio. So 1947, Pakistan became independent of British rule.
Yeah, and we've mentioned this several weeks ago. 212 million people, largest migration of humans in the history of the planet. Where the Sikhs and the Muslims moved out of India into Pakistan, and the Hindus and Buddhists moved out of Pakistan into
India. Yeah.
But it prevented a major civil war.
Kind of musical chairs of countries, isn't it?
But fascinating thing is 212 million people. Their GDP is 1.1 trillion, less than Canada, and we have 37 million people. Mm-hmm. Per capita is 5,800. But that's back to what you and I talked about. If Asians or mid-Asian people, even India, got some handle on capitalism, my gosh, they could change the world. But they don't seem to be able to. They don't seem to be able to. Too much corruption. That's what it is.
Well, it's corruption, and also their infrastructure is sadly lacking. They can't get stuff from one place to another very efficiently, and that's part of their problem. That way, they got plenty of people to do things, but it's the raw materials, getting raw materials around the country that's part of the problem. But you're right, corruption is also, and the caste system they have. If you're poor, you're going to stay poor. So there's no entrepreneurship allowed. So. Yeah, that's the other reason that they're down and out. So, all right, we'll be back. We got Montana State News. We got Fox News. We've got Brooke Foster Weather. We got the Brian Law Office. We've got the Northwest Ford dealers, and we've got Tom and Shane. We'll be right back. Yeah. 23 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, August 14, 2019, 54 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the mid-70s to 80 today. No chance of precip. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you live or rent near MSU, they are having a neighbor open house today, August 14th at 6:30 in the sub ballroom, number 233. The purpose of this little get-together is to brief you on the construction projects they've got going on around MSU, and they may affect your commute or your travels or traffic patterns or whatever. They've got the projects. They got the American Indian Hall in progress. They're going to do the fitness center and gym roof repairs that caved in. They're going to do the Romney Gym reconstruction, and there's other changes on the horizon. So if you want to be briefed on the impacts of construction on your neighborhood, the timelines for completion, and answer to your questions, you can show up at the neighborhood open house August 14th today at 6:30 in the sub room number 233. And if you have questions, 582-2274. 582-2274 will get your answers to questions or whatever you may have. So I would, if you live around the area, I would strongly suggest you try to attend that if you can, and find out how it's going to impact your neighborhood, your traffic, your commutes, and all of that. So
there you go.
Another public service announcement from the KMMS.
Another public service announcement, too, is there is an election on November 5th, 2019.
Okay.
So, there, for your state officials and so forth. I don't know if it's in Montana. I think so. But so they will be voting on this.
Okay. They'll
30. What is it? $30 million Bozeman
well,
Center.
yeah. Well, they'll be voting on the Law and Justice Center if it's on the ballot, along with the $200 park fee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
$16 a month, one pizza a month for you, for that fee, and it's probably several pizzas a month for the for the bonds on the Law and Justice Center. So
yeah, exactly.
And you got a high school to pay for and a safety center to pay for, so you got all those nice things to pay for. So I would strongly suggest that you get a firm grip on your wallet, get another job or two or three, and living in Bozeman, living in Bozeman will be the dream it's advertised to be. So,
at a cost you can't afford.
At a cost you can't afford. No way. All right, we got to take another quick break. We'll be right back with more of the KMMS Morning Show with Tom and Shane right after this. 15 minutes for the top of the hour, Wednesday, August 14th, 2019, 54 degrees outside. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor. Shane Montalban, half man, half amazing. If he wasn't, I couldn't say it. It's absolutely true. He is. And if
you're too kind, man. You're too kind.
Yeah, and I think he proved it on July 26th. If you were at our gala get-together, he pretty much proved he's pretty amazing and pretty, I don't know. At least he's mostly man.
Yeah, at least I'm well read.
At least the upper part, yeah. All right, let's see. Well, how are we doing here? Let's get back to our days in history. Let's see. 1969, British troops arrived in Northern Ireland to intervene in sectarian violence between Protestants and Roman Catholics, and that went on for a long time into the 90s.
Yeah, it was. It's one of those things where, you wonder. It's called Operation Banner. That's what they called it. And they had British forces there from 1969 to 2007. Mm-hmm. So the Catholics and the Protestants couldn't find their way out of a paper bag.
Yeah. Well, we didn't think that was ever going to end because it was a religious war. Like the like they had in Iraq between the two factions there, and we just thought the Protestants and Catholics were just never going to get along at all.
That's right.
But eventually they did. I think it was the moms that said, "Hey, I'm tired of losing my kids."
Yeah, I think
it was the moms that pretty well put the stop to that deal. Yeah. 1973, U.S. bombing of Cambodia came to a halt.
Yeah, Operation Menu. Wow.
Yeah.
Strategic Air Command was bombing Cambodia from 18th of March 69 till the 26th May 1970. That was acknowledged by President Nixon.
Yeah.
But turns out when they investigated, they'd been bombing Cambodia since 1964 to 1973, when Bill Clinton declassified all the information in the year 2000. So it's one of those situations, where national security overwhelms transparency.
Yeah, I could see Cambodia from my tent.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you definitely saw the Vietnamese or the Vietcong that came out of Cambodia from your tent.
I definitely saw them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember we used to, when we do convoys from one place to another, either transporting people or stuff or whatever we were doing. And along the way, we had all these rations, in little cardboard boxes, and they had candy in it and stuff, and we'd toss them out to the kids, and they'd go nuts. And, it's like a parade. They lined up for it. And I remember we went through this one area where everybody was pretty much in black and we're throwing stuff out and they're not picking anything up. And I'm going, this is the wrong place for us guys.
Yeah, we shouldn't be here.
You better be ready to do something because
what's the expression? The expression lock and load.
That was it. Yeah, that was yeah. It's not just it's just not a group of attorneys. It's right.
Yeah,
that's the NRA attorneys, isn't it? Lock and load.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
That's
NRA. Yeah. 1980, workers went on strike at the Lenin shipyard in Gdansk, Poland. A job action that resulted in the creation of the Solidarity labor movement. Weklenza, I think, if I remember correctly.
And John Paul II, you know, it was the beginning of the collapse of the Soviet Empire.
Yep. That was the beginning of the end for Gorbachev and all those guys over there. 1980, President Jimmy Carter and Vice President Walter Mondale were nominated for a second term at the Democratic National Convention in New York. And guess what happened to them?
They did not succeed.
They were not successful.
But they did name an aircraft carrier after him, the USS Jimmy Carter. So there you go.
That's it. Well, he was a nuclear engineer.
That's right.
So it made sense, I guess, to do that.
Well, everyone claims he was the smartest president ever elected without a lot of common sense.
Well, okay. Well, you're book smart and street smart, I guess.
Yeah. The smartest, stupidest person anyone ever met, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you want to talk about nuclear submarines, he's on your case. But if you want to talk about the economy or Middle East, I don't know much about that. So
or the Iran hostage deal,
let's not go there.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take another quick break. We'll be right back with more This Day in History right after this. 6 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, August 14th, 2019, 54 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the mid-70s to 80 degrees today. Shane Montalman, half man, half amazing on the line. Mike McCormick will join us in a few moments at the 7 o'clock hour, so we'll entertain him, and he'll entertain us, so we'll be chatting with him. So continuing on with This Day in History, 1996, the Republican National Convention in San Diego nominated Bob Dole for president and Jack Kemp for vice president.
Yeah, it was a real conservative ticket. And, you know, Jack Kemp was really beloved by a lot of Republicans at that time. And Dole, of course, an old Navy hero, you know, sort of got the brass ring because of his age and experience as a leader of the Republican Party from the House of Representatives in Kansas, alive still today at 96 years old.
Yeah, still hanging around. Yeah, boy. 1997, an unrepentant Timothy McVeigh was sentenced to death for the Oklahoma City bombing.
As he should have been.
Yes.
Disastrous situation.
What a lowlife. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Domestic terrorism. I'm really amazed we haven't had more of that. As simple as it was to build the bomb they did with some fertilizer and some whatever, and I don't know. But I realize they keep records of all that stuff now, how much you buy and where you buy it and all that came out of that. So in 2003, a blackout hit the northeastern United States and parts of Canada. 50 million people lost power.
Yeah, it was the biggest blackout since the 1965 blackout, and it's an amazing thing because it was a software bug, and this is the biggest problem with your
our grid,
your continental grid. Anyway, a software bug in an alarm system control room of First Energy in Akron, Ohio, of all places, rendered the operators not being aware that some transmission lines had drooped into foliage, into trees, and broke. And they would have been able to manage the local blackout, but it cascaded into a collapse of the entire northeast region. So not a good thing, and creates awareness of exposure of your grid. And no one's done anything about it, really. You still have that exposure today, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, 45 million people in the 8 states and 10 million people in Ontario were affected. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people think if Russia was going to attack us or China, they would attack our grid, which would bring down all computers and pretty much put us out of business, I think.
Hey, the one thing about this that's important to mention was the first time your birth rate hit 2.0%.
Wow. All right.
All the babies born because of the blackout.
That's it. Yeah, if you can't watch TV,
what else are you going to do, baby?
Can't make a pizza.
Dude, where's that wine?
Beer's warm.
That's right.
Let's hit the sheets.
That's right.
2006, Israel halted its offensive against Hezbollah guerrillas in a UN-imposed ceasefire that went into effect after a month of warfare that killed more than 900 people. Wow, that was quite a coup back then. And
Yeah,
and they've been fighting ever since. You know,
yeah, I know.
The ceasefire
but
was
this was a result of the King of Jordan kicking the Fatah and and the PLO out of Jordan because they tried to take over his country. So they all went to Lebanon, and didn't work well for them. So they definitely wanted a ceasefire because the Israelis were pounding them pretty good. So
Well, in 2009, Lynette Squeaky Fromme, Charles Manson follower who tried to assassinate President Gerald Ford in 1975, was released from a Texas prison hospital after more than 3 decades behind bars.
34 years she was in jail for that. So amazing. Yeah, I remember seeing that videotape. It was in 1975 of him. Poor Gerald Ford, he had the worst situation of TV, right? Fell down the stairs on Air Force One.
He was always tripping, falling down. Chevy Chase on Saturday Night Live was always playing him. He was always stumbling.
Right.
Fell into the Christmas tree, I remember. And all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
But he was always falling down the steps or tripping or going somewhere. So he was not the most graceful president we ever had.
No.
Well, there was a thing. He opened up some of the tunnels because he didn't want people seeing him walking to the pool in his bathing suit. So.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. They put the bathing suit in the press room.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
All right, Mikey McCormick is in the house. Hey, Mike, what day is it? Mike. Hump day. Mike is here. All right, we'll be talking to Mike McCormick shortly. We'll talk about bonds a little bit this morning. They're kind of in the tank. So we'll be right back with Mike McCormick, Shane, and myself. A lot more on the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane and Mike McCormick coming up right after the news, so stay tuned. Thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. It's 6 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Wednesday, August 14th, 2019, 53 degrees outside. Shane and Tom on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, half man, half amazing. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, and Mike McCormick, all man, all amazing, is with us this morning.
Welcome to the house, Mike.
Hey, great to be here. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day, everybody.
Yeah, Mikey, what day is it? What day is it?
What day is it? It is beautiful summer day is what it is.
It is a nice day out there.
Yep, it's not quite back to school unless you got a teacher in the family, which I do, and she's going today to get some work done. And I just want to give a shout out to all of our great educators out there today and let people know that summer break is needed, and it's not nearly as long as it should be. I think it ends up to be about 8 weeks for my wife by the time that she does the pack up, put down, put away, and then now it's on again.
So she's waxing the floor and the desks and everything, getting ready for the cleaning the blackboards, whiteboards, green boards, whatever.
Whatever it is.
Whatever they got over
magic
there now.
boards. But summer's kind of winding down for her, and I hope that all the teachers out there had a great one, and we appreciate what you guys do.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're happy to be here. We're happy to have you in here every week. And from our text line, we're talking about bonds this morning. And
they are in the news. Yeah, they are in the news. So all the bonds are due to growth. You can't have one without the other. Growth creates bonds. Do we agree with that, Shane and Tom? And
yeah, it's the municipal bond market in the U.S. is the largest in the world with over $4 trillion in municipal bonds across your country. And it first developed in 1812 by the city of New York, the city of New York, to pay for a canal. So it's been around for a long time.
Yeah, we're going to build a high school with it. We're going to build a safety center with them. And we're going to build, if the Law Justice Center passes, we'll build that with bonds.
Yeah, and today actually in the paper, you'll notice that D.A. Davidson put an announcement out about the high school bond issue.
Yeah, they're going to cover that.
And I was remiss. I meant to clip that out and bring it in and read it. But what it says is, hey, we've got some bonds to sell, and they're backed by the BSD 7 district, but essentially our Gallatin County property taxes. It's a safe bet because I do plan on paying my property taxes because I do like where I live.
You like where you live.
And I don't want to give somebody else my home for a heck of a good deal.
Don't want the sheriff hanging around.
Yeah, right. So if you're interested in those bonds, they're not going to pay much. They're really, it's going to be embarrassingly low what they're going to pay. And generally, I want people to take their assets and try and get more growth. So unless you have too much stocks, unless you have too much in real estate, unless you have too much in things that are going to go up, and you just want to hide your money in something really safe and maybe have a big tax issue, this is not a growth opportunity to that text person's call.
Right,
in fact, this is a under the mattress opportunity is what this is. Now, if you do want to get involved in that, the best way is really just to call D.A. Davidson and have an account with them of size helps, right? Size does matter.
Sure.
But, going direct to the people underwriting that usually gets you the best deal. If I get to go shop them, I get them sort of a hand's distance away. D.A. Davidson does a fine job. Might be nice to see somebody else in this next 100 years offer a bond in the state of Montana. Sure. But, competition, whatever, maybe it's overrated. So bonds, boring. That's what the B's for, right?
They are boring, that's for sure.
They're boring. So we'll try and make this fun.
Yeah.
You get an interest rate, you loan your money, you get an interest rate. That interest rate is really low right now. And what's making the news is that the 10-year Treasury note, you loan the money to the safest people on the planet, which is the U.S. government, you get a 1.64% coupon per year. 1.64%.
That's almost a low record.
It's probably
really close to it.
I should have that. I bet that it's certainly a near term
something. I think or something like that. It's pretty close.
Well, and that's what it. So this is safe money. This is chicken money. Like I said, you only go there if this is mattress money, and so that means that there's a lot of mattress money out there demanding it, and we're going to see how low it can go. Like if what is the lowest return that you will receive for the safety is the question.
Yeah. Well, and also the 5 years eclipse the 10-year or the 1 year.
And so that's what's making the news today, right?
Yeah, it's kind of flipped.
And so we try to talk about this in light terms, but the Federal Reserve sets the short term of this, which is the 90-day, and that 90 days, the 1 month is at 2%. So they set that at 2%. And then from there, if you loan your money out longer, you get less money back. And that's the opposite. That's opposite day. So the whole thing's broken. It's causing big gyrations in what I call the smart money. The bonds are 10 times. The bond market is 10 times bigger than the stock market, roughly. And so this is where the smart money is. This is where the institutional money is. This is where the sovereign debt money is. This is where the super rich people's money is. This is where the big corporate money is. This is where the municipality money is. And right now, there's a giant bathtub of this stuff sloshing back and forth because to have a 10-year yield that's lower than the short-term rate disrupts fundamental economics. It has to be resolved through free market forces, and that resolution is not happening right now. So that's what's scaring people. We're having a big big downturn in the Dow this morning, despite the news about Trump delaying the Chinese tariffs basically after Christmas. I think was one of the critics' call was I just doesn't want Christmas to be taxed too much. Well, we'll see how that goes. But the news flow is all about these bonds. The text person, they're not wrong that growth equals bonds. Bonds allow people to grow. It's just like you borrowing for your house, right? I mean, if you can borrow money, then you have more money today to grow, and tomorrow you pay it back. And that means the future needs to be rosier, especially for the person that you're borrowing it from. You want that to be good. Yeah. And growth allows all that to happen. But for people that are invested in bonds, you're probably invested, the 40% of your portfolio is in bonds, 60% is stocks. That's sort of the 80% solution. We like to think that that's the sweet spot for our investors. The bonds smooth out the ride while the stocks provide the growth. Well, what we've seen in the past few months is the bonds are providing the growth. And this is because people are trying to buy your bonds from you that you bought in the past that were paying more than this super low number that we're seeing today. So they want them. They want that higher rate that you're getting. And on the secondary market, you can sell them for more today if you want. And maybe you want to. Mm-hmm. This is the tricky part, right? There's a finite return. And as Tom and I were talking about before the show, and as Shane has always pointed out, overseas, maybe we're up to 20 trillion now of U.S. value that is negative yield, meaning that these bonds are paying money to be there. You give them $1, in the future they will give you 95 cents or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Heck of a deal. That makes no sense. Why would anybody do it? Well, it's the same reason why people are investing in these low return bonds too. They're either mandated to, meaning that a lot of pensions, a lot of municipalities, a lot of portions of our government are mandated to take a percentage of their reserves and put them in the same country's debt or certain types of debt. We do that to keep it all in the club, right, and keep it safe. And then also there's some money that is afraid. It's afraid that there's worse things out there. And if you're an international investor, if you're in China, if you're in one of these distressed international communities, or you have money in one of those, you might prefer to take a known cost to your money by investing in a negative yield than to take an unknown risk in what might be a shaky economy.
Yeah. From our text line, 478-8298, if municipalities weren't corrupt, bonds might be secure or more secure. So you may not want to invest in downtown Detroit or Baltimore or some of these other places that are suspect as far as the
certainly mismanagement,
the way the thing is run.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's there's a risk, right? Yeah. If there's a reward, there's a risk
on everything that you invest in. I mean,
yes, there is.
It's a crapshoot.
And the risk, yeah.
I just wanted to comment. Tom and I are always looking for markers, Mike. So I wanted to get your opinion on this. I think it's important. This marker is huge. Mark your calendar of last Sunday, folks, because Argentina had an election and the Conservative Party lost, and the Merval market collapsed on Monday. It was down 34%. It's tried to recover, but that was one of the major markers that I see that people have to be aware of. Politics will affect the market. And, so, you have an election coming up next year, and these kinds of things have a trend, and that may be the beginning of a new trend.
It's interesting. It did make a lot of news, the Argentina situation. And Shane, I love your views, and I think that sometimes my contrary views are afterwards, I'm like, well, I didn't really articulate that well. But I'm concerned about markers is not Argentina, because I heard that news and I said, didn't they just do that? And of course, that was, between Pinochet and now, I think there's been two other defaults at Argentina, or maybe at Chile. Yeah. No, Chile's Pinochet. Anyway, I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's a yearly thing with Argentina, I think.
When I hear the Hong Kong airport is shut down due to protests, that one we need to bring in Don Gimbel or somebody in a Far East Asia expert, but that one to me is causing concern, because that's a sign of political unrest in an area that is critical to our global economy.
Yeah.
And highly
Singapore, both of them.
Yep. And direct ties into China.
You could probably put
and China's involved in this one, right? They're trying to make a law about and basically putting influence on Hong Kong citizens that they don't want.
Yeah.
So yes, these markers combined with this inverted yield curve that we have. Now, it doesn't mean that what we think is going to happen. It just means hold on to your hats, right? We've had in this past summer, we've had incredible volatility with not a lot of gains. This was a sell in May and go away kind of market. Mm-hmm. If you would have followed that game plan, you would have lower stress. Your cholesterol wouldn't matter as much. You might have a good suntan, and you'd have the same amount of money.
Yeah.
But you never know, right? So I also view these moments where you have a good downturn today because of real reasons and concerns about Macy's. Their earnings are not good, down 43%. These might be opportunities to take some courage and say, you know what, the consumer's healthy. There's a lot of risk out there. We don't know how it's going to be resolved, but I know I need to grow my money. I have surplus. I have good emergency savings. Risk will be rewarded. When all of the analysts are saying that something's going to happen, rarely does that actually happen, right?
Yeah. I don't know. We got to take a break from our text line. I wish the teachers would teach the Bill of Rights individual thinking, that liberty is the reason the great country is just that great. That democracy without liberty is mob rule. Liberty is the basis of individual and minority rights and freedom. So you can take that home to the missus and...
She's just teaching them how to read now.
I know. I'm going to say, what are you, fourth grade or third grade or something like
kindergarten that? Kindergarten for her.
Oh, kindergarten for her. Yeah. You're teaching her to read in kindergarten.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, she is. She's a wizard on that.
Okay. Well, good. Well, all right.
Step one before step two.
That's right. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back with Mike McCormick, McCormick Financial Services, right after this. Yeah, we're just sitting here talking like we're on the air.
There you go.
It's 21 minutes after the hour. Sorry about that. We're just chatting away here.
My bad.
It's my fault.
Sorry.
Not watching my clock. Hey, our poll question today. Name your favorite KMMS weekday show. Name your favorite KMMS weekday show. The early voting right now is Rush Limbaugh in the lead with 50%. And the Morning Soapbox is in second place with 40%, and Dead Air is in third place with 10%. So
fortunately, on the Morning Soapbox, you get both.
You get both, yeah. You get Dead Air and
combined. We're going to take Rush.
We take care of everybody here, so by all means. Jeff Krause votes for Tuesday 8 to 9. So there you are. And I guess Mike votes for Wednesdays at 7.
Yeah, Wednesdays at 7.
That's pretty good show. That's a pretty good show.
Nice of you to put me on at 7,
yeah.
Tom.
Well, I should mention that we're up to 1,326 downloads of our 208 shows, so doing all right.
That's right.
A lot of folks.
You can take us with you.
Take us with you anywhere.
Right. Insomnia solved.
That's it. And hey, we got enough shows up now. You can listen to you can listen to 3 hours for a full week.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Probably a month. Easy. So take your pick.
Well, you wanted to talk about recession, right?
Well, that's also something that the talking heads on TV have been teasing about.
Yeah.
That, where there's some
flashing signs.
There's some red flags out there, that Shane and I watch all the time.
Right, these markers we're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, my interpretation of that is that there's a technical recession, which is 2 quarters of negative growth, I believe, is what they're calling it. And so what, right? What I care about is, what about my money? Mm-hmm. That's the recession I care about. I care about the recession where I might get laid off, or in my situation, my clients leave, or something happens where I can't be profitable, and my assets that I have managed to accumulate are losing value. Mm-hmm. That's desperately what I care about, and I suspect that the same is true for people listening, right? So if your assets, primarily in this town, that's real estate. So you've got your personal home, hopefully that you do. Hopefully it's got a mortgage that you're comfortable with on it, or maybe mortgage. And then you've also got assets that are at risk in the stock market for your retirement account. Mm-hmm. And that's fundamentally it. You have your own business too, maybe that would be helpful. So you have these 3 things, and they're gonna feel recessions at different times and in different ways, and that's good. That's diversification. That's what's designed. Now in real estate, what we saw in this last great recession was that we were really the last ones to feel it, and we were one of the first ones to recover also. So that's good. Mm-hmm. We want to be there.
That's what I always say, that we're like the middle of the ocean where it just kind of bobs up and down a little bit. We're not at the beach where the waves come crashing in and the tide goes in and out and all of that.
We're not on the front. I remember reading stories about Las Vegas, completely blowing up, and I was in housing and development at that time, and I was like, I just closed a few homes, it can't be that bad, and then kablam, of course. But then you do have your stock market investments, and those are to your analogy, Tom, like those are going to be the ones that are going to feel it first, and then it's going to trickle down through the less liquid things. In terms of residential housing here, it couldn't look any stronger to me. There's 2 homes being built in my neighborhood that are using local architects, and they're spending the extra money on whatever they get a chance to, really, to tell you the truth. I'm looking at where, of course they're going to do that. And, flat roofs and fancy windows and, spaces that aren't used but look pretty. Those are the markers that I look at. And that is alive and well, and vacant lots. And of course, we've got high rises going on all around us right now. So there's no sign of a recession in our immediate neighborhood anywhere. Yeah. Anywhere. Employment is fantastic. I mean, if only I could get a job pouring beer at a brew pub right now, then I'd be super wealthy, right? So it's a hard job. You got to know 1 of 5 beers and put it in a glass, right? It's very tricky.
And less than sober.
I don't know if that's a requirement or not. It might depend on management on that one.
From our text line, 478-8298. So, Mike, and Sage philanthropist, I guess. Are you bullish on bonds overall in the short term? Is this irrespective of the class bond and the bond length? Are you specifically and only focused on the stronger performing municipals? Please be specific with your overall short-term and long-term bond forecast. Thank you. And have a wonderfully profitable Wednesday. Great job, Steve-O. So
thanks, Steve-O. I think I've got about 2 minutes to answer this.
Yeah, you do.
Question to be specific.
Well, we can pick it up after the break if you want to, too.
I'm going to go at this one short.
Go for it, yeah.
So when you loan money to somebody, government, municipality person, whoever it is, at a period of time, they're going to give you that money back.
Yeah.
And during the time, they're going to pay you a coupon. What we're seeing right now is that if you made a deal yesterday, the coupon that you're getting, that interest rate, that regular payment of interest is a high value today because nobody's willing to pay that today. So they're going to say, hey, I'm going to pay you more money than you even paid this person, loaned this person for that. But don't forget that this bond matures. At the end of this time period, they give you back $100. So I might go to Tom and say, Tom, you got this bond 5 years ago. It's paying a 5% coupon. I can only get a 2% coupon today. I'm going to give you a lot of money for your bond. I get it. I get those coupons at a higher rate. I feel clever. And then the bond matures, and I get the same $100 back that you loaned them to begin with. So there's a gravity. There's a black hole of sucking gravity that's going to pull all of these bonds back to the fair value. They're never going to yield. They're never going to pay out at maturity more than the person loaned them. It's just along the way, right?
Right.
So there is a real reason why these bonds have a limit on how far they can go, and that's why we look at these moves so significantly, because people that are getting into bonds today, well, they have to mean that interest rates are going to go even lower. Things are going to get even worse if you're buying bonds today. And that might happen. I put it in the context of this real estate market is going to continue to go up until things get truly ridiculous. We're not there yet. We're just at mildly silly. Truly ridiculous is coming. In the bond market, if you're inherently a bond market investor, it means you're conservative. I would not be playing the bond market right now. I would be going short-term CDs. That's my specifics right there.
Yeah, like 6 months, a year, whatever, something like that.
Right. I mean, a year goes by like lickety-split. There's no reason to go longer than a year.
Yeah.
And with this recent rate cut we had, the money markets have gone down, but you can still find some CDs deals out there that are pretty good. You might have to shop banks, but no, don't go out long on this yield curve right now unless you're a sophisticated investor is what I'd say. If you're somebody that's just got the 60-40 blend in their portfolio, rebalance. That's your equivalent move. You sell the winners, buy the losers. That's what rebalancing is.
All right. We come back, we'll talk a little bit about tariffs, too, because Trump made a decision on China and the tariffs and whatever. So
whatever.
We're going to talk about that with Mike and Shane and myself when we come back. So stay tuned. This is News Radio AM 1450, KMMS in Bozeman, 1340 KPRK in Livingston, online, KMMSAM.com. Hey, don't forget, you can get the AM 1450 KMMS app on your smartphone. That gives you everything you ever wanted to know about KMMS.
It's all for free, isn't it?
It's free.
Oh,
and
my
our
God.
News and everything and our past shows and all that stuff. We'll be back. I'm going to start paying more attention. How did I get this job? Anyway, Mike and I are just sitting here talking
That's
about...
my fault. I apologize.
No, it's my fault. I got to watch the clock. We're sitting there just talking away like we're on the air, and we're not.
It's just coffee chat.
Yeah,
it's
just
nice.
coffee chat. Well, from our text line, tariffs only hurt China as Trump promised for 2 years that if they have no effect on Americans, then why is Trump saying he's going to postpone additional tariffs till after the holidays to spare American pocketbooks till after Christmas? This is an issue where he and I part company. I think that's a sign of weakness to the Chinese, and I think he is showing that they are in the driver's seat when it comes to this. But you have some information, Mike.
Mike, and this goes to that text, text message that the tariffs only hurt China. Now, in an efficient market, if I could buy a spatula from China, or I could buy a spatula from Vietnam, and the Chinese spatula now has a tariff on it, then either China has to reduce their profit by the amount to sell to the same, or if they try and pass on a nickel more cost to me for the spatula, I'm going to go to Vietnam and buy the spatula. So what we saw in the past year is that imports from China have declined 12.6% over the past year, but imports from South Korea, Taiwan, and Vietnam rose 9.2% during the same time. So we are seeing that there is some high level of efficiency in this.
So suppliers are shifting their orders from one.
We don't
country
care
to
where the
another.
plastic CRAP comes from.
No, we don't.
We want the lowest price on it, and so it's really interesting to see how fluid this is. Right? Yes, tariffs have been in place for a while, but the actions that companies need to take to redirect their supply chains and retool and whatever it is, stuff that's beyond me. I'm sure there's somebody at MSU's manufacturing center that can talk about it. This is what Trump's counting on, right? He's counting on, hey, we are going to make it uneconomic for you to sell us goods.
Well, that's why I say this is, I think, in my opinion, is the wrong time to let China off the hook.
Yeah, I think you're right, Tom. I was sort of curious about this one. On
unless
one
they
hand,
got some talk coming up that they're not announcing or talking about.
I mean, on one hand, I heard Trump say that, and I'm like, well, his strategy is that there needs to be he needs to change the deal so fast that the other party can't really react, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, he's just changing the deal again. Well, yeah, but it seemed like it was working. On top of, the threat of increasing those tariffs along with what's going on in Hong Kong, on top of these indicators that, for us to import 12.6% less from China, that's real numbers.
And that's a real hurt for them.
It's real hurt for them.
Because we're easily, between us and, does Canada have tariffs on Chinese goods, Shane? I don't think they do they?
Oh, yes, we do. And 15,000 American goods.
Well,
shoot.
You're off the air.
Right.
I don't.
Enemy of the state.
I don't disagree with you about the policy of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But the political fact is he did this for political reasons because it pulls the rug out from under the Democrats who support him on what he's doing with China.
That's true.
But on a political side of it, they can't attack him for anything about Christmas because he said, well, I took the tariffs off, so there shouldn't be a cost to Americans at Christmas. Yeah. So politically what he did was brilliant, and he's still holding them to the irons with the policy because, he's going to rack them. They got to do a deal with him. They're in so much trouble, Tom. Come on. Yeah. This Hong Kong thing could spill over into China. If they come in, if they come into Hong Kong, oh my gosh, all bets are off. You watch what happens then.
Yeah.
There's over 4,000 U.S. companies in Hong Kong. Yeah. And over 1,000 U.S. companies are headquartered in Hong Kong.
And they've been having, just in the shutdown, sorry, Shane, I'm trying to study it. I'm actually having a hard time finding a lot of news about the impacts of it. But companies are letting people work from home. They're trying to keep their employees safe. They're trying to shift duties over to other centers. Things like this are a no-go. If you're a publicly traded company and you are dealing with electronic transfer of assets and things, and you're headquartered in Hong Kong and you're worried about a shutdown of not just travel, but that could permeate into other aspects of that society, you'd be like,
and Hong Kong is a financial center of Asia, like London is in Europe, New York is in North and South America. So, I mean, you could see a shift to Singapore, even Vancouver, if Hong Kong goes down.
Yeah. We got to take a quick break. We'll be back. If tariffs are meant to increase U.S. products, then redirecting to Vietnam doesn't achieve that. Well, tariffs aren't made to increase U.S. products. They're made to protect U.S. products.
We're just not going to get back to paying people to stamp whatever. I mean,
not at $15 an hour. And
we're not going to go back to coal. We're not going to go back to carts and buggies. We're going to keep finding the cheapest labor on the planet to make our briefs.
There you are. Let's go. We'll be right back. 13 minutes for the top of the hour. Shane, we've got a request from a texter for you. In response to the last texter, maybe they would have a better understanding of the strategy and value of tariffs if Shane explained how they work. His previous explanation weeks ago was excellent.
Well, okay, I'll run through this real quick, 1 minute rant. 3 types of vessels on the sea: cargo, container, and tankers. So any ship that pulls up to a harbor in the United States has to go through what's called a custom broker. The custom broker reviews the documentation submitted to them of what that ship's carrying. They have to clear it through the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the Fish and Wildlife Services. Then they arrange transshipment, because 80% of everything we consume in North America is delivered by 18-wheeler, particularly containers. And then at that point, they make a determination of what the tariff is on what's been on the or is being brought in by the ship. that tariff is then charged to the country of export. So in this case, if it's from China, the Chinese government pays it because they're a fascist government, they control it all. But the point is that they're billed for the tariff. There is no cost to the American public to purchase those unless the purchaser, like a Walmart, decides that they're going to reduce their profit or maintain their profit margin and not raise the price. And as Mike has pointed out, if they raise their price, they create problems for China because they can buy something cheaper somewhere else. So the only cost to Americans with tariffs is if what you're purchasing has gone up in price. It is not a tax, it's a price increase.
Well, it's semantics as far as the listeners are probably concerned. If you pay more, it's either a tax or it doesn't really matter what you want to call it. It's still more money. But
it's a matter of how it's collected, and no major, like Walmart and look, your country's suffering on a hard brick apocalypse since 2010. 12,000 brick and mortar stores have closed since 2010 across your country. So
not because of tariffs, though.
No, it's for other reasons. I could go into that, but I won't right now. But the point is that the margins of profit on these products are so great that no one and I was in Walmart just yesterday checking this out in case we talked about it with Mike. The prices are going down; they're not going up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, the other thing you got to realize is that when a company like Walmart makes a deal with China, they agree on a price, and Walmart is more than likely going to build that tariff in if there is a tariff on those prices. And Walmart says we're going to buy this amount from you for this price, and take it or leave it.
No, even Amazon, it's all consignment now. So no one's paying up front.
Well, that's true. Yeah, they're not going to pay up front. They're going to pay for what they sell, and they're going to return the rest of it back to you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or put it in storage for next year.
Yeah, or like the Christmas stuff. You'll be buying last year's Christmas stuff this year because it looks the same. It says Merry Christmas on it. It says Happy Hanukkah or whatever it is. So. Let's see, from our text line, here's what's going to happen. Nothing will change. Trump will declare victory in his trade war. Shane will agree and claim Trump is a genius. So tariffs or taxes. U.S. Custom and Border Protection collects the tax on imports. The agency typically requires importers, Americans, to pay duties within 10 days of their shipment clearing customs. What do you say to that, Shane?
Well, no. What we're arguing here is the process.
Yeah.
The point is the custom broker's job is to determine what's on the ship and then determine what's tariff. But at the end of the day, the person that pays that tariff is the sender. The person that's sending it out to the U.S. Yeah, it only costs Americans something if they increase the price of the product.
Right, and until the tariffs went into effect, 95% of anything that was non-agricultural coming in paid nothing.
Correct.
And
that's absolutely
there should be a finder's fee for 320 million of the most affluent people on the planet. So
that's right. And 25% of the world's production we purchase. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
There you are. All right. We got to take another quick break. We'll be right back with more with Mike McCormick and Shane and myself right after this. Welcome back, everyone. 4 minutes for the top of the hour. 62 degrees outside. It's Wednesday, August 14th, 2019. Shane and Tobin, half man, half amazing. From our text line, Shane the mediator. Half man, half mediator, maybe.
I could negotiate. I could do that.
That's right. You could get this tariff deal done and nothing flat, couldn't you?
You got to give some credit where credit is due. So,
That's right.
I mean, when people say that we support the president, I mean, look what he's accomplished. I mean, it's not he has not been asleep at the wheel. That's for sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, you might as well just declare victory right now, and that he's a genius. Just go ahead and put it out there for the texters that want this. So. Oh, let's see what else we got on our
Dow is down 1.5% this morning.
Yeah.
1 year return is below 3%. Yeah.
Ouch.
Right.
Hey Tom.
Yes.
Remember a year ago when silver was at 14 and a quarter? It's 17.23 now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And gold's gone up too, and oil's gone up certainly. Yeah. So.
Gold's over 1,500, 1511 up 1321.
Let's see from our text line. Tariffs are protectionism and liberal tools. Nancy and Chuck love them. Canada eliminated tariffs on all industrial and most agricultural products imported from the United States under the terms of NAFTA. Tariffs and tariff rate quotas remain in place on dairy and poultry tariff lines. Dow is down. I'm bored of winning. Well, the Dow is up quite substantially since Trump took office. So you can go there too. So, all right. So,
the idea that tariffs are liberal policies and things like that, it's kind of true. Free market enterprise, capitalism, that's the precept of where we want to go. Tariffs, taxes, quotas, market manipulation, rebates, all this sort of stuff. Monkeying with these systems is politics, is what it is.
Sure.
It's fascinating times that we're in, and like you said, and like Shane said, prices, we're not feeling it right now. And we can navigate around it, right? If there's steel that goes up.
I was going to say I haven't found anything that is dramatically up in price that we normally buy.
And I'm sure if we were in a certain industry, we'd be feeling the pain.
Probably right.
But maybe it is that we just have alternatives. Like if if this gets expensive, we do this. So it's good. Fascinating times. Careful making dramatic changes to your investments right now. This is icy roads, as I say, so you make lane changes very carefully and no sudden moves. Hopefully you got plenty of dry powder. Hopefully that your income is still strong. Thanks for listening. Thanks for having me, Tom.
All right. Hey, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. All right, Shane, we still got an hour to go here, man. Maybe we come back, we can talk about budget deficits and trade deficits.
Yeah.
That should be fun. How boring a radio can that be? All right. All right. Thanks, Mike, for being here.
My pleasure.
McCormick Financial Services. Check it out. And we'll see Mike next week. And we're just kind of experimenting with Mike's time here, so we may change it next week. I don't know. We'll announce it, though.
It's great when I'm here.
We'll be right back. Thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. It is 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. It's a Wednesday hump day, August 14, 2019, 63 degrees outside. Shane and Tom and Half Man, Half Amazing is in Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. From our text line, the Dow was up substantially after Obama took office, also without hurting farmers and socialism bailouts for farmers. Do you really think in your heart of hearts that you can text me something like that and I'm not going to check it? Let's go to the press. 2009, February. President Obama signs into law a sweeping 5-year farm bill today that authorizes nearly $1 trillion in spending and makes historic changes to agricultural policy. So please don't give me that crap.
There you go.
Again, if tariffs only hurt China and not consumers, why is Trump waiting until after Christmas? Well, he's not waiting until after Christmas. He's going to raise tariffs on December the 12th is the new date, and the current tariffs are still in effect.
That's correct.
No tariffs have been reduced, so we've just postponed the next increase in the tariffs.
Yes, and look, the trade routes of the world are important because of the amount the U.S. consumes, number one. Number two, expansion and growth in the United States will only occur if he shifts the development of products in the United States to be sold globally. So the balance in trade has to come down for the United States economy to continue to expand. That's just a fact. He understands that. He knows the importance of that, and it's basic economics. And this isn't rocket science.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
This is Clint.
Hey.
How are
Good
you
morning,
guys
good
this
sir.
morning?
Good.
Shane, how is it in Vancouver? Is it bright and shiny and sunny and beautiful?
Blue skies and 78 degrees today.
Okay, I want you two smart guys to think to do something for me and the rest of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Look on your computers, see what the price of winter wheat and barley is at the port there in Washington.
Okay, Shane can probably pull
Yeah,
out
I can do that.
faster than I can.
Yeah, I got it right here.
What is it?
Wheat is $477.83, up $5. Soybeans $869.75, down $1.50.
Okay. Now, diesel, how much the price of diesel now?
Let's see. Well, gasoline is $1.68, and crude oil is $55.11, down $2.
Yeah, well, here you're figuring diesel here is right at $3. Gas is $2 and some odd cents.
$2.73, and I think diesel is about $2.80 something.
Yeah, that's right. It was over $3.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's still under $2 though, or under $3. I should say.
Yeah. Okay, we can haul this if you notice, Tom, and I've noticed the coal trains, and I've noticed also the wheat gondolas going through here. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're loaded or empty. I think they're loaded for some of them from the Nebraska and Kansas and that country maybe. But just think of the price, what it's costing to ship that, and what the farmer actually realizes out of it.
Well, remember when diesel was $4 or $5? What it was costing back? 4 years ago? Yeah. 4 or 5 years ago, we were paying $3.86 a gallon for regular.
Well, what I'm getting at here is how are the farmers going to be afford to have all these bond issues that Bozeman's got? These local farmers, how are they going to afford to have another bond issue heaped upon their taxes? Mm-hmm. With the low price of grain. And a combine is costing $350, or one guy told me it was $500,000 for some of them.
Oh yeah, no, it's being.
How the hell are they going to do it?
Well, farming today is, you've got to have a lot of moxie to do it.
And 90% of these ranches are borrowing money from banks every year.
Sure.
For operating capital, for hiring their help and whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're paying interest on that, and they're not getting enough out of their grain to offset it. So how in the hell can we buy a new jail and bond issues, a new school, and everything else, and besides mill levies? What in the hell are these politicians thinking about?
Well, they're not farmers. They don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't care.
Shane, they all like to eat, don't they?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that's gotten me rattled so bad is these bond issues and stuff like that. And I know a lot of farmers in this valley and in Madison Valley, and I've talked to them, and they can't afford this crap.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to pass it on and tell the people that they can't. Now, I'll give you, for instance, in White Sulphur Springs, we had to have a new high school, okay? Well, during that time, there was 3 huge sawmills there. And I used to buy timber from them sawmills, and I hauled them into Las Vegas, and they helped build the Showboat Hotel, some of it. Mm-hmm. Okay. The mills went away. Guess why?
Environmentalists.
Right. Guess what happened to the bonds that we floated for the new school? They went heaped upon the rest of the taxpayers that was left.
True.
Yeah, it made a hell. Now nobody thinks about the things I'm telling everybody, but if something would happen, that people would start leaving like they did White Sulphur. Okay, I'm just giving you a scenario here.
Sure.
This possibility. Okay, I don't think it happened here, but it's a possibility. If we lost jobs and something like that, or recession, and things ain't looking so good sometimes. Mm-hmm. But that's why I'm saying this. And the farmer and the rancher, he's some of them are right on the verge. They're right on the line of making it or not making it. You see what I'm saying to everybody?
Oh yeah, the brunt of this is going to fall on them because we're an agricultural state now. We're no longer a mining state. We're no longer a logging state. We're no longer an oil producing
That's
state.
right.
So agriculture is the only thing that we've got left, and our economy rises and falls according to prices of agriculture.
Well, it isn't just agriculture.
Well, no, that's not the only thing.
No,
but I mean, it's a significant, that and real estate are the two biggest things we've got going for us here.
Yeah, that and tourism.
Yeah, tourism.
Well, the thing is, everything that we use in our daily lives is mined or grown.
Yep.
Without a doubt. Now, what are these environmental communities thinking about? You know, what are they thinking about?
Well, they're selfish. They're selfish. You know,
they're selfish as hell.
Yeah, we talked about green energy is not possible right now. It will be eventually someday, but it's not viable under current technology.
Well, right now, as you know, and I know, and everybody, that Northwest Energy and the environmental community and the wind farms and the solar farms, they're fighting right now through the PSC, okay, to regulate, to get Northwest Energy to buy this solar power and wind power. Well,
and they can't do it and still operate.
That's right. Now, what's the environmental community doing by trying to force the PSC and the Northwest Energy to change their minds to take that? What would happen to our power?
Yeah, be gone.
It'd be gone. So anybody with any common sense out here, that's all it takes is common sense to figure this deal out, and I feel so bad.
I do too. When Montana Power failed due to bad management at the top, that was a really sweet deal for Montana. Montana Power was, if you remember.
They were guaranteed 13% profit. They were guaranteed that. It was a monopoly.
Yeah.
But it cost my family a lot of god darn money. I mean, a lot of money.
A lot of people lost because they put their retirement in there, and man, it was just that was a slam on Montana that we're probably still trying to recover from.
Well, Gannon had to move to Florida. They'd probably killed him.
He should.
I asked Mark Roscoe one time why he did that.
Well, he thought the phone business was the coming thing, and it just didn't materialize at all.
Yeah.
Well, not here yet then.
Now, if here's another thing the environmental community is trying to do, they're trying to stop all of the coal production.
Oh, yeah. Coal, drilling. You can only do it on private land.
And they're trying to stop the mining industry. My wife's family is involved in the Black Butte at White Sulphur, all right?
Sure.
Okay, they're trying to stop it there. They tried. The Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation went in and tried to buy some land. I don't know if they got it done right next to where Jerry Zig and them are going to do the mine, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? To try to stop them.
Sure.
See?
It's selfish, Clint. It's just selfish. We want this pure air, pure water, pure everything, and there's no way it's going to happen in their lifetime, unfortunately. But that doesn't stop them from exerting pressure and trying to force it to happen. And as we know, anytime you force something that doesn't happen naturally, you're going to have unintended consequences. It's like when you squeeze a balloon on one end, it gets puffy. The air goes to the other end of the balloon. So
Well, Shane, what do you think about this mess?
Well, the contradiction and hypocrisy was covered by the Rocket Man last week. Yeah. You can't have this new Green Deal in the future by cutting production and mining. The need for the minerals alone to produce, solar and wind is so exorbitant. You'd have to increase mining. What was it, 100%, Tom?
Yeah, something like that.
The hypocrisy of all of it is ridiculous. It amounts to nothing right now on your grid. 1.6% for solar. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. The amount of concrete and steel that goes into one solar windmill, or what goes into one solar panel makes it prohibitive at this time when they have a solar panel the size of a dime that will produce what one the size of a Buick does. We'll have something, until then.
The thing is, Tom, that solar panel, the best I've ever read about.
And what are you going to do with it when it's done?
Yeah, it's about 20 years. It's the very best ones they produce.
Yeah, you're going to fill up the landfills with them. They're not recyclable.
That's right. They're all. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, the thing is, we're getting most of our power through the Bureau of Reclamation and these dams, like Canyon Ferry and Hauser and all them others.
Dams are a great idea, and then we sold those.
Yep, sold some of them.
Yeah,
we got to do something here. Yeah. But most people are so busy working, trying to make a living, they don't have time like I got.
Yeah.
To voice an opinion. I'm trying to speak for a lot of people. That don't have the time because they got to get to work and make the dollar to give, and pay taxes and bond issues and mill levies. They're busy.
Got to go, Jay. I got to go, Clint. Hey, thanks for the call.
Thanks a lot for letting me expound upon this.
All right, man.
Matter in hell, and I ain't going to take it anymore.
I ain't going to take it anymore either. All right. We'll see you later. Thanks a lot. Shane, we got a caller waiting. If you could chat with them, we'll be right back. 22 minutes after the hour, it is Wednesday, August 14th, 2019. Shane has been interrogating a listener. Let's see what he or she has to say. Caller, you on the air. What's up?
Hey, guys. This is Aaron.
Hey, Aaron.
Okay, so I just wanted to say to Clint, we can't afford $1 trillion farm bill. We can't afford subsidizing all the CRP farm stuff either. The waitresses can't afford all these taxes that are being put on everybody. The farmers aren't the only people in this valley, Clint, that are hurting because of the taxation, the Bozeman and the county. So you sit there and whine about those guys. They're driving 2 or 3 $80,000 trucks, and they got these $150,000 tractors and $150,000 pieces of machinery out there. But they can't afford and they don't pay any property taxes either. So, that whole Crimea River over the farmers, screw them. I mean, the rest of us are tired of paying for their operations, right? But what I really wanted to call and talk about was the Supreme Court just got threatened by 5 high-ranking Democrats over a gun issue in New York.
Wow.
And yeah, they told him, hey, look, man, you guys either need to heal or you need to be restructured. That's what they told the Supreme Court. Now the Supreme Court is supposed to weigh in on a constitutional matter regarding the Second Amendment in New York. How are they going to do that? How do they even have, if they come down against the Second Amendment, diminishing or infringing on the Second Amendment, how in the hell are they going to have any credibility after that?
They won't.
They won't. So Trump, I swear to God, Trump needs to, the Declaration of Independence says just governments gain their power from the consent of the governed. And I want to tell the president right now, I consent to the president using the United States military and arresting every Democrat in Congress, every one of them, and half the Republicans. They all need done away with. Putting Gitmo. I don't care what they do with them, but they're threatening the Supreme Court. Is that
that can't stand certainly.
Well, they're trying to politicize it, Aaron. They politicize the executive branch. They politicize the legislative branch. So they want to politicize the judicial branch. Yeah. That's all this is, and it's not unlike the Democrats to do it, right?
It's more it's more bark than bite.
That's right.
Yeah. No. If you think for 1 minute, if a Democrat wins the presidency and the Democrats take the Senate and they maintain their majority in the House, do you think for 1 minute that if that Supreme Court shoots down that law being passed in New York over guns, do you think for 1 minute that they're not going to put on 5 more liberal justices on the Supreme Court, or restructure it to the degree that
they will, sure. Yeah. Well, just like FDR tried to pack the court with 15 judges, so that he could get everything passed he wanted to do, but that wasn't the deal, and that's why Shane and I have agreed if you want the Supreme Court to not be just a liberal stamp of the Democrat Party, then reelect Trump and keep the Senate, because that's the only way that you're going to keep the Supreme Court balanced. Which it pretty close to is now, then, you're exactly right, Aaron. If the Democrats take control, they have the judges as soon as these guys either retire or die. They're in the driver's seat for putting the most liberal people possible on the bench.
What happens if I threaten a judge?
Yeah. Why don't you?
So
can you do it on the air? Can you do it on the air while we're on with you?
Judge Judy?
Yeah.
You're in deep. I'll threaten Judge Judy.
There you go.
If I threaten the judge to direct the outcome of a case, I'd be in jail.
You would be, yeah, sure.
Those congrouncmen and senators need to be put in jail.
I would think if you threaten to punch the president, there ought to be something for that, or if you threaten to blow up the White House,
Why haven't we recalled Tester over that?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
What does it take to get a recall going?
Yeah, a lot of money.
That's right.
It does. It takes some money.
They tried recalling Scott Walker 13 times, so it can't be that expensive.
Yeah, well,
anyway.
That's true. All right, man, thanks.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Take it easy. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, earlier you were talking about human-caused global warming and the Green New Deal.
Yeah.
Well, you have to be able to boil things to their essence. Human-caused global warming is best solved by eliminating the humans.
Yeah, that'll work.
Well, that's the purpose of it.
Yeah.
Is to cause chaos and cause a giant reduction in population. That is the purpose of the Green New Deal.
Well, I guess we'll see, because I don't think it has a chance in hell of passing or going anywhere. But, that's just me.
I mean, the Democrats are all in favor of it.
Well, they are. They are, because they love the planet more than conservatives do. Conservatives hate clean water and clean air and,
Well, you have to boil that thing to its essence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, here's a fact and a truth. This whole thing about cows and methane gas is it's just a joke. The
but that's how you
producer of
eliminate
methane gas on the planet are termites. I mean, if you're going to get rid of cows, let's get rid of the termites first, okay?
There you go. I got to go, Benny. Hey, thanks for the call. I got to go. I'm sorry. All right. Well, yeah, the termites, I don't know what we're going to do with those guys. They're the worst. They're the worst. I don't know. Well, anyway, if the humans are gone, the cows will keep reproducing, and they won't be killed, and we'll have the same problem. So
that's right.
I think we have to get rid of everything on the planet.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Everybody should be dead except the rich. Yeah, let's keep the rich guys because they know how to make money. Okay.
And pay their taxes.
Yeah.
87%.
Yeah, we'll be right back. 23 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, August 14th, 2019, 63 degrees outside. Caller waiting on the line. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Hey, Tom and Shane, it's Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, so I just tuned in. You guys were talking about, clean water and clean air, and you were saying how, the conservatives want clean water and clean air.
No, we don't know. Are you kidding me? That's not profitable. There's no profit in clean water and clean air. Come on.
Well, I mean, but
what's wrong with you?
Do we want clean water and clean air, of course, but it has nothing to do with global warming, though. I mean, they're two separate issues.
Yeah, right.
You cannot believe in man is causing the earth to warm and also want clean air and clean water. We're not for dumping stuff into the rivers. We're not for polluting, we're for scrubbers on, clean energy kind of stuff and scrubbers on the coal, which we have the cleanest energy and the cleanest country and the planet. The thing is whether CO2 is causing warming. And I love how these people love to call us science deniers when they don't look at the science. The science shows, you can go back to the core samples that they pulled out from the ice, and they can look back at thousands and thousands, millions of years ago, and they can show that every period where there's been a warming, the CO2 levels rise after the warming, not before the warming. So that's science, and which I don't understand why people can't make the correlation to. The planet warms because of cycles of the sun, and then CO2 levels rise because the oceans carry most of the CO2, have CO2 in it, warm up, just like when you warm a pot of water on your stove. The hotter you make the stove, the more steam comes off, right? The more CO2.
Yep.
So the planet warms, has warming cycles, and then it's followed by a period of higher increased CO2. That's science. It's not the CO2 is higher elevations and then the planet warms. That's the opposite of what happens. So therefore, CO2 does not create global warming. That's science.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can they argue that? How can they argue?
I can't argue with you, Kevin. I love to argue with you, but I can't today.
All right, then I'll leave on that.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks for the call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shay. What's up?
Hey, guys, it's Mayor.
Hi, Mayor.
Hey, speaking of your insanity, over in Europe, they are implementing a meat tax.
Yes, I saw that.
Global warming. And I think it's a university in England has totally banned beef from the menu. And in Sweden, there's some, I think government official that has to be in Brussels twice a week. So this clown, instead of taking a 1-hour flight, he's taking an 8-hour train trip, round trip, 2 times a week because of global warming. So let me ask you this. How much energy is consumed in 8 hours versus 1 hour?
By a train, no less.
Yeah. I mean, these people, and they're out of their minds. I don't understand the thinking. I think there isn't any thinking. That's got to be what the problem is.
What I don't understand is why have a meat tax, because the dead cow's not producing gas any longer. So why have the tax?